Hello, welcome to AFCast. I'm your host, Malcolm, and first I want to apologize for not uploading anything the past couple of weeks. I had a bit of a problem with uploading, so I wasn't able to upload anything, but now I can. So I'm going to jump right into the news with games. So for October 23rd, we have Just Dance 2019 coming out for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. For October 22nd, not 22nd, 26th, we have My Hero One's Justice and Red Dead Redemption 2. For My Hero One's Justice, is coming out for PS4 and Switch, and then for Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out for PS4 and Xbox One. Other news besides games is XCOM's 6th anniversary, which happened on the 17th. So for any of you who are an XCOM fan, then you can wish them happy 6th year. And then there are also some Halo spinoffs that are free this weekend between the 19th and 21st. There's also Diablo 3 themed Nintendo Switch bundle that was announced, if you guys want to get that. PS4 also showed off DLC of some Spider-Man costumes for Marvel Spider-Man. So if you're interested in getting more Spidey costumes, then yeah, there's DLC for it now. PS4, if you had any problems with the message that PS4 sent out and it started crashing your PlayStation, they have now fixed that, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. Destiny 2's Festival of Love is also now live, and same thing with Destiny 2's Iron Banner event. And then you can also check GameSpot for some of the best in-game Halloween events that are happening this year. There's also PlayStation 4 update 6.02. So if you want to check out the patch notes for that, or even if you haven't gotten on your PlayStation in a bit, there is an update that you will have to worry about. Yeah. There's also Star Wars: The Clone Wars voice actors will be in Battlefront 2. I don't know if that's going to be that they're going to be doing like a guest thing, or if it's going to be an official thing that they're going to do. So look out for that. So for this week, I'm going to be talking about Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and as usual, I will be doing a further review later this week on Wednesday. And yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the game itself, and it came out October 12th. It was developed by Treyarch, Beenox, and Raven Software, and it was published by Activision like usual. And for those of you who don't know, who don't listen to the soundtrack, Jack Wall has made the soundtrack again. And if you don't know who that is, then they also did the soundtrack for Black Ops 2 and 3, and then Mass Effect 1 and 2, and then a few other games. But in my opinion, he's one of my favorite soundtrack artists out there. And then for those of you who are new to any Call of Duty games, or even Call of Duty Black Ops 4, it is a first-person shooter and a battle royale. So the modes that they have is multiplayer, blackout, zombies, and specialist HQ. And I'm going to jump right into multiplayer to start. So multiplayer is just like usual, where it's actually, except for the fact that it is first in the series to not have auto regeneration, which is fairly interesting choice that Treyarch made. It's also for anybody who didn't like the exosuits with the ability to boost jump and everything. It is now boots on the ground again, so you don't have to worry about that. There's also a new map. So the mini map is essentially darkened, except for teammates' point of view, so where they're looking, or also small areas when the enemy shoots. You'll see a small area on the map light up, along with a big red dot. So some game modes that are in the game. So there's featured, and then there's core, then there's hardcore. So the game modes that are in featured is Capture Mosh Pit, Chaos TDM, Control, which is a new game mode, which is essentially it's you take turns attacking and defending two objectives on the map, and each of the objectives have 3 segments. So it's basically like hard point or domination, except for every time that the enemy team takes up one of those segments, the defense cannot take it back. And so the whole goal is for the attackers to complete the 3 segments on both objectives, and that causes them to win the game. And then defenders will just have to wait, will have to waste their time. And there is respawns in this. And then there's also free-for-all as one of the featured game modes. And then there's also Heist, which is essentially a capture the flag, and also this is another one of their new game modes. But Heist is essentially to capture the flag, but if someone dies, it's permanent. And you actually earn cash each round, and then the following round you can buy like weapons, perks, and more. Yeah, so it's kind of like CS:GO in that sort of sense. So now the core game modes are Control, Domination, Free for All, Hardpoint, Heist, Kill Confirmed, Search and Destroy, and Team Deathmatch. I'm not going to go into full explanation now about all these game modes, mainly because, well, one, I'll be explaining them further this week. So if you want to know about them, you can either research them now or you can listen to my episode later this week. Yeah. And then the modes that they have in Hardcore, and if you don't know what Hardcore is, it's essentially just it's a harder version of core modes, and it has like friendly fire and you have less health. And so the different modes that they have is Hardcore Domination, Free for All, Kill Confirm, Search and Destroy, and Team Deathmatch. So they don't have Hardcore for all of the modes, but those are the ones that they do have it for. So now they also have 10 specialists. 6 of them are old, and 4 of them are new. And by old, I mean that they were in Black Ops 3, like Battery, Firebreak, Nomad, Prophet, Ruin, and Seraph. And then the 4 new ones are Ajax, Crash, Recon, and Torque. So essentially, Ajax, his specialization is area clearance. Battery's specialization is demolitions. Crash's specialization is team support. Firebreak's specialization is area denial. Nomad's specialization is ambush tactics, and then Prophet's is remote disruption. Recon's is intel operations. Ruin is frontal assault. Seraph is tactical command, and then Torque is path blocking. And once again, I will be going over this more thoroughly in the episode that will be coming out later this week. And that goes for everything I'm going to say, so I'm not going to repeat myself again with that. Yeah. So some maps that are, not some of the maps, all of the maps that are in Black Ops 4 is Jungle, Slums, Summit, Firing Range, Arsenal, Contraband, Frequency, Gridlock, Hacienda, Icebreaker, Militia, Morocco, Payload, Seaside, and then Nuketown will be coming out in November when the game was originally supposed to release. They also have a new game mode called Blackout, and this is a Battle Royale game mode, and you can have up to 100 players in each match, and you can actually unlock different characters to play as. They don't do anything, it's just different look that you can have. There are also vehicles for land, sea, and air. You can do solo squad, duo squad, or quad squad. That's fun to say. And then there's also barrier, kind of like PUBG or Fortnite, that like closes in on random spots on the map slowly to get people to come closer together. And then you also start with 150 health, but you can actually get up to 200. And then stashes. There are little stashes around the map that you can find that are protected by zombies, and essentially it's a mystery box, and you can get really good loot from those. There's also care packages that will come in, and you will also have really good loot. And then there are also just regular loot boxes that you can find in buildings that have like special healing items or anything like that. So some stuff to look for is like a backpack, armor, healing items, a recon drone, 8 different ammo types for different weapons, 15 gun attachments, all types of weapons in Call of Duty except for knives, so even like rocket launchers and stuff. And then there are special perks that you can find around the map that you can activate for a short amount of time, and you can only activate them twice each, which means that you cannot pick up a third one. And then you can actually find some of the specialist equipment and weaponry from multiplayer around the map here. Then there's some other equipment that you can find like frags or Molotovs. And then you can also, if you find an item that I haven't listed here, then you can actually look inside of your inventory and you can see a description on the right side of your screen describing these different like items that you picked up, including the guns. So there's also multiplayer maps that are actually built into the Blackout map, which is actually pretty cool. You can actually code a Nuketown Island and everything like that. It's pretty interesting. So I'm going to get into zombies now. Essentially, what zombies is, if you've never played it, it's you just being in a horde of zombies. And then there's also some Easter eggs, except for a new mode that they came out called Rush, which it just doesn't have any Easter eggs at all, and you're trying to survive for as long as possible. So about it is that you can play 1 to 4 people. So you can play solo or with a total of 4 people. And then there is a new story and also the old story, which is actually a remake of Mob of the Dead. It's now called Blood of the Dead. And so the old story is called Aether, while the new story is called Chaos. And then there are also some custom loadouts that you can use that have like special weapons, equipment, elixirs, perks, start weapons, and talismans. And the elixirs are basically take place of Gobblegum, and then talismans are new to the game, and they're basically like perks, except for they activate as soon as you enter the game and last the entire game. So some of the maps or stories is Blood of the Dead, which is the remake of Mob of the Dead in the Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary. And then there's Voyage of Despair, which is in the Titanic. And then there's 9, which is in the arena in ancient Rome. So now I'm going to talk about Specialist HQ. Essentially what Specialist HQ is that it takes place of the campaign. So yes, they do not have a campaign anymore. So it basically teaches you how to use each of the specialists that I mentioned earlier for multiplayer, which I find very useful. And you can actually learn each of the specialists' backstory. So that means that you'll even know the new or the older character's backstory from Black Ops 3. And I find that very interesting. They also have mini cinematics at the end of each tutorial that basically creates a story. And this whole thing takes place between Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3. And then, yeah, there's some skirmishes that you can play with each of the operators that are just against bots. So if you want to practice, then there you go. And also for the skirmishes, every time that you play the skirmishes, it gets 1 level higher. So you start at normal, and then you go to hard, and then you go to veteran. So I'm going to be talking about the term of the week now. And so the term of the week is hardscope. And for those of you who don't know what hardscope is, it's essentially when people just are staring down their scope. And so that's what it's called, is a hardscope. So you're just kind of staring down it, focusing on one area, or you're like kind of changing between areas. But yeah, hardscope is just you focusing in with your scope, and focusing in on whatever you're trying to protect or even go against. So that is all I have time for today. You can check out a full review, and including my opinion and also my friend's opinion on the game. So it'll be me and somebody else that will be talking about the entirety of Black Ops 4, go into deeper explanation, and we'll be giving our top opinion on it and on each thing separately. Yeah, so if you want to listen to that, that'll be coming out Wednesday. Game on.